What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Kaspa yet again. I've got some bullish price predictions and some bearish ones. We're going to go over two scenarios. Has it topped? And if it hasn't topped, how much higher is it going? Where is it going to go? And I genuinely believe, you guys, that this thing could go more than double of the current price that it's at by the end of this year. Before seeing some kind of major pullback like you've seen in the history of this so far. We had this 74% pullback, 74, 57, and a 72% pullback there. You might continue to build before you see that more major pullback take place. But let's start off with the bullish scenario, right? So if we take this top, taking a walk back in history, top to bottom here, you went all the way up to your 2414. From this top, not the scam wick, but like the top that ended this move right here to the bottom, the low, not the scam wick, you went up to your 1414. So the first one was 2414, the next one was your 1414. And I mean, really, you kind of went all the way up to your 2618, right? Because like this was like all one big leg. I don't know, but this was a pretty major correction, so we'll count that there, 1414. Top to bottom, you went all the way up to your 2618 here too. So 2618 there, found support at your 1272, going up. You've had one time where you didn't see the twos. One time it went to the 1414. The other two times have at least gone to the 2414. Okay, here you are sitting well above the 1414 right now. I think we don't have a whole lot of iterations to go off of, so it's not like completely valid or completely vindicated to bet on this. But if we were to continue doing, I'm going to plug this in real quick. Sorry. If we were to continue doing what we've seen Kaspa do previously on its previous pumps, you could see this thing move up from anywhere from about like 25 cents to 33.5 cents in a very short amount of time, man. You're moving like you're on a mission right now. And generally, you can see whenever this thing, whenever it moves up, it might have a week of disparity, right? Maybe 1 week here of disparity, but all in all, it's not set back for more than a week before it continues to move up. So, maybe we take a pause, maybe we take a little break right now, maybe we go all the way back down to 9.4 cents to find support and then continue upwards. But all in all, I think you're in good shape, man, to go up. And there's a couple of other things I want to point out that are deceivingly bearish, and they might be bullish, actually. It was something that I was just looking at a second ago. To finish this off real quick, though, very strong readings in your weekly RSI. You've only been up here once, twice, 3 times now before, so you are getting into those deeper extended levels where you are looking to take profits probably and turn around. But again, there is the complete realistic possibility of this thing going up to anywhere from about, I'd say, 26 cents to 33.5 cents in a very short amount of time. But let's look at the daily time frames and show you some of this like deceivingly bearish stuff I was talking about. When I say deceivingly bearish, I mean it looks bearish, but really it's bullish. Okay, I'll go into it. I'll show you what I mean. Because Kaspa likes to mess with people, apparently, man. If we look back here, because if you look at the current times, actually, it looks like we have bearish divergence, right? It looks like it right now. And in fact, it's looked like that for the past 1, 2, 3, 4 days now. It's looked like that, okay? If you look here, you had your high and you had a higher high in your price, or in your RSI, and then a higher high in your price as well. This whole time, all these moves going up, even like basically up until this candle here, all these moves coming up, you had bearish divergence presenting itself on this RSI, right? But this top happened, this relative high here happened after you negated that bearish divergence. And even then, you still continue to move higher. And then, yes, you did have some, I guess, true bearish divergence here a little bit more. I guess not even, right? Here you went a little bit higher too, but just kind of showing that you don't need bearish divergence to top. If we go to this top here, you had a high here and then a higher high, right? And then that's when you started to form your bearish divergence right there, right? You were actually in this overbought zone for quite some time. Here you had a high, and then you had a higher high in your RSI, and that's where you topped off and you started to go down. Here, I think this one was actually real bearish. There's a double top. Yeah, that's bearish divergence technically, because a double top while having a higher high, that is bearish divergence to some degree. And then here, from here to there, you only topped off after you went higher. You didn't form, I guess from here to there you did form bearish divergence, but relatively speaking, I would say you didn't. Here, again, kind of coming up into the what I'm trying to get to is that it looks like we have bearish divergence now. We have 18 hours left in this day to go. If this day closes red, it would start to present bearish divergence. It would be a little bit confirmed. But if we were to close the next day green or something like that and continue to go up, that could negate this bearish divergence look. It could be messing with you, right? So I'm kind of under the impression that this thing could go higher. If we look at the daily RSI again for what it is, we scroll out a little bit here, you can see that it's gone up. Each time that it's had these like significant highs, it's been up in these areas. You did kind of get to that area right there, but let's just see, this high over here comes in line with this high, and you continued to build afterwards, right? You pulled back. You actually had a less severe pullback this time than you did back here. You're showing more strength now. Sorry, I thought I heard something. You're showing more strength here even than whenever you were in this overbought zone for a long time. You absolutely could continue to climb in this RSI, which would then send you climbing higher in the price as well. I don't know if you will go straight to 26 to 33.5 cents right now. I would expect that, if you were to move up from here, maybe you move up to like 16 cents like Bobby C was saying, or maybe 16 to 20 cents, and then you have some kind of reversion back to let your RSI cool off and then continue, something like that. But I don't think you're going to see a major pullback in this thing until you see prices that are essentially like double the price and what it's at now. And I can be wrong. I've been wrong before. I can continue to be wrong, but from my experience, man, in crypto, there's always that one asset that people just want to hate for no reason. And then the people who are involved, they're like crazy gung ho, like cultists with this thing. Like they believe in this thing more than they believe in anything else. But there's always people who just because there's people who are having a good time making money, they just hate it. They hate it and they want to see it go down. And I think Kaspa has a lot of hate on it, man. I think there are a lot of people who like myself at one point have been calling for this thing to go down, and they're just continuing to be proven wrong. So it generates this endless, vicious cycle of just wanting to see it eventually drop. And as many people as there are who want to see it continue to go higher, I would say that there's probably more people that want to see it go down because it's such a new project. Most people probably aren't in this thing. To anybody who is, good job. Congratulations, you guys. You're doing great. But the fact that I would think that most people are expecting it to come down is why it will continue to go up. Most markets are made to take most money from most people most of the time. I forget where I heard that, but it kind of makes sense, right? There are people who are probably shorting this thing who feel very smart, who are seeing this daily divergence right now, and they're like, oh, it's definitely going down. It just had a huge run up. Of course it's going to go down. Well, how'd that work out for you any of these other times? Like it didn't really work. You got a little bit of a move, and you could see this. Don't get me wrong. You could see something like this. A 37% move or a 40% move isn't anything to like be ashamed of, right? You could see that kind of move, but still, that move would take you to this previous high. You'd be checking back a resistance point for support and then continuing to go higher. So even if you don't go to those highs immediately from here, even if you do have some kind of a significant drop at like 40%, which really isn't significant for Kaspa, in its history, it's had a 74, 74, 57, and a 72% drop. Seeing a 34 to a 40% drop isn't really shit for this thing. But all in all, even if it has that little bit of a correction, tests the previous areas resistance for support, I don't think that this move is going to be done until you see, again, somewhere around 26 cents, if not 33.5 cents. And the reason, one more time, I started the video off with this, but the reason for that is from this high to this low, generally speaking, more often than not, 2 out of the 3 times so far, you've gone into these deep extensions in the 200 levels, and at a minimum you've hit the 2414, a little bit past that even, which is why I'm saying 26 cents. And one time you actually hit the 2618 all the way up at 33.5 cents there. So I mean, you didn't hit that price, but one of them you did. I think it was right this low to high you hit the 2618. If you were to turn around here, if I was to be wrong, again, I think that you would find support. Look at that, man. The 1618 comes in line with that resistance area. That's beautiful. Like if you were to find resistance here, if you were to turn around and not go up immediately, I think you would have a swift move down, and then just as swift as it came, it would turn around and continue to go higher. I don't think this move is done here. A little bit of a pullback is nothing to be ashamed of. just an opportunity to buy the dip and then continue to go higher. Because again, guys, I really do think that a lot of people want to see this thing or believe that this thing is going to see a more major correction, because that's what it's done. That's what it's done in its history. But, you know, I have a funny feeling that what it's done more in its history is proven people wrong, right? And if I'm wrong that it doesn't hold that 9.4 cent area and it actually goes lower, maybe it goes down to that 6 cent area that I was originally talking about back at this high here. But something's telling me that this thing is going to continue to go higher. And that's really all I got to say, man. So I think right now, if you were to continue to go higher, you could see that 21 cent area and then see a little bit of a pullback back to where you are now and then continue to go higher, something like that. You won't just move up in a straight line, but I mean, let's see. Looking at it for what it is. Yeah, you had a little wigwags here. You know, like you had a very strong move up, consolidated, right? You had what was that move right there? From top to bottom, 56% of a move down, consolidated, and then you still continue to go up. This move from low to high, it wasn't really over till up here. So if you were expecting a more major correction, which don't get me wrong, a 56% correction is pretty significant. You were waiting for a 70% correction like the time before. You would have kept waiting because it just would have gone higher. Eventually it went lower, but not after it went higher first. With this high, you just kind of marched, consolidated for a little bit, marched, consolidated for a little bit, and then marched. And this time you just marched, consolidated for a long period, but then you went up a lot, man. You just didn't stop. You just kept going up. So who really knows how this thing's going to act? I don't think it would be too crazy if it were to pull back from here, and I don't think it'd be too crazy if it were to go up. My genuine opinion of this thing, if I was to trade it, I would say I'd probably wait for it to come down to go long. I wouldn't be going long here, but I definitely wouldn't be shorting it, man. It could go lower. Cool. Let it go lower. Don't be short. Just go long once it comes to this previous area of resistance, because I do think, you know, again, if we're looking at it for what it is, if you look at these for overall moves, we're not paying attention to like the consolidation areas, which this could be a consolidation area. I don't think the overall move is done, and I don't think it will be done until probably by the end of this year, somewhere around 26 cents to 33.5 cents. And that's all I got for you guys. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thank you all for coming. I know I got a little bit repetitive there at the end, but just trying to work through all my thoughts. And yeah, man. Yeah. You know, something else to take into consideration here as to why I don't think that we're going to see a major correction here right now. If you stuck around, a little bonus. I've got this moving average here, this purple line. It's the 123 purple line. You found your low after this move up, and you had a significant correction. You found your low below the purple line. You had another move up, significant correction. You found your low below the purple line. Another move up, significant correction. The low was below the purple line. Any correction before that, before the move was over, they didn't go below the purple line because that wasn't the real correction. This purple line right now is all the way down at like 5 cents. I don't think you're going to 5 cents, man. Like not right now. Maybe in the bear market you can return there, but not right now. I think 6 cents wouldn't be too crazy. You know, if you put a line right here at this high, that's at like 5.4 cents. You could test a previous area of resistance as support, but as the days go on, this line is only going to climb. So if you were to go below it, like you're only going to go a little bit below it, like we've seen in the past, right? Like it doesn't go too substantially below it. Sometimes just barely below it. So, and I wouldn't think that you go back below these highs here, or if you do, it's not going to be long lived. So, as the days go on, this line will only continue to climb higher, making that new like major corrective pullback just ultimately higher. Like the low where it's going to be is going to be ultimately higher. This thing is moving up at a steady trend, so I don't know. When we see that, when we see a significant pullback, I think we'll have a general idea of where the best area to buy is, but I don't think it's happening now. So before I just continue to ramble and repeat myself, that's all I got. Take care, everybody. Have a good night. Bye-bye.